Hey guys, welcome back to I'm Just a Fan. It's your host Ben, and today we're going to be making a video on the Kirk Cousins situation. How do we get into this situation? We are going to be examining the colossal failure of the signing of Kirk Cousins by the Atlanta Falcons, going through the entire saga in pretty much the last 9 to 10 months, seeing how things have unfolded, and pretty much discussing where we are at now. So let's jump right into it. And before we start this video, I just want to say if you could give this video a like, it would be very much appreciated. Comment anything you want to comment down below. Subscribe if you like my type of content. I make sports content, NFL content, all types of stuff for sports. So feel free to show some love there if you support the content. Also, I have a TikTok that I will put up here on the screen right now. If you can follow it on there, that'd be greatly appreciated. And I just wanted to say thank you to anyone that watched the last 2 videos on Juan Soto. He must be a trending topic, as many know, and my videos have been doing pretty good related to him. So just wanted to keep the momentum going, and yeah, let's get right into it. So this saga started back in March. On March 11th, Kirk Cousins agreed to a 4-year, $180 million contract with the Atlanta Falcons. The veteran quarterback had agreed to the deal. It was on a Monday, and this deal included $50 million signing bonus with $90 million guaranteed over the next 2 years, with an additional $10 million guaranteed in 2026 for a whopping total of $100 million in total guarantees. So at the time of this deal, I didn't think it was the worst deal. I actually liked it a lot. I liked what Cousins has done the last couple of years in Minnesota. I felt like he was doing a pretty good job. I didn't fully understand the hate that was given. I understand that Cousins isn't a traditional quarterback that is going to elevate talent, but he definitely can do a good amount with talent if he's put in the right system, which, as we've seen this year with Sam Darnold, KOC really gets it going with Minnesota's offense. So it's definitely something that I thought he could have done in Atlanta as well. But of course, as we saw, that wasn't the case. So things really unfolded throughout the whole saga. But of course, looking at it, I thought it was a great move. I'm not saying it was perfect because of the age and the money, but realistically, I was viewing it as a 2-year deal that you were going to try to maximize this window with Atlanta. And going into the season, Atlanta had pieces. You had Bijan, you had Drake London, Mooney, Kyle Pitts, if you could unlock his talent. The defense had signed Simmons last couple of years ago. So they had some talent, but they just needed to put the quarterback there. Into the draft, there was still support for the move. People were overall in support of it. And I was in the camp of, okay, if you're Atlanta, you're the 8th pick in the NFL. Go get a defensive player that's going to maximize your defense and really go all in on this window. That was not the case. They decided to go draft Michael Penix at number 8, completely blindsided the NFL community. I wasn't expecting that move. And the move really shocked a lot of people, including myself, because, again, you just signed a guy who was 35 or 36 heading into the season to a 3 to 4 year deal, depending on how long he was going to stay. And you need to maximize his window now. Like, that's what you're doing. And instead of doing that by taking either a premier offensive player or a defensive player, you go take a quarterback who's going to go sit on the bench this year. And as you can imagine, this did not go over well with Cousins. Kirk Cousins finally addressed the Falcons' shocking decision to pick Michael Penix in the first round. And he said that he was both disappointed and almost angry in a way. I was shocked. It was something that really took him by surprise. And again, that's what comes back to my whole discussion with this is, if you're Atlanta, what was the plan going into free agency last March? Okay, you want to get your quarterback in Kirk Cousins? Perfectly fine. But what happened in that period from signing Kirk Cousins on March 11th to drafting Michael Penix on April 25th? What happened in that 6 to 5 week process of going, maybe we do need to, get another insurance plan just in case this Cousins thing doesn't work out? Because my whole problem with this entire operation is I thought it would be better just commit to either one. Now, hindsight is 2020. You have Kirk Cousins, and he struggles, and you're now putting in Penix today. But I just felt like either you get Cousins and then you maximize his talent around him and this is your window for the next couple of years, or you just would have liked Penix already. You don't spend all that money on Kirk Cousins, and then you spend all that money on other players to then elevate your rookie quarterback. So I just didn't really get it. I didn't get it, and that's what's confused me so much about the entire thing. Now, let's take a look at how Kirk Cousins did this season to see really why he ended up getting benched in the first place. So, as you can see, he started off the season all right. 1 touchdown, 2 picks against Pittsburgh, not great, but then another 2-touchdown game against the Philadelphia Eagles. 1 touchdown, 1 pick versus the Chiefs, no touchdowns, and 1 interception for him against New Orleans. But then I feel like the conversation really started to change around that game where he played Tampa on that Thursday night. 509 yards, 42 for 58 for 4 touchdowns and 1 interception. I mean, that was by far Kirk's best game all year. And you really had the people starting to believe that, okay, this is the great move. You know, Atlanta is in first place of the division. They look like they're going to host a playoff game, et cetera, et cetera. But really, since that game, he had a couple other decent performances, but that was about it. Struggled against the Panthers, did not play great against Seattle, had a great game again against Tampa, and played pretty well against Dallas. But the free-for-all was in the middle of November. Lost to the Saints in a key game, didn't throw a touchdown, threw 1 interception, lost in a blowout game to Denver at home. Again, no touchdowns, 1 interception, not even 200 yards. And then for me, where it all came really collapsing down was his game against the Chargers at home in a pivotal game to put them up again in the division. Kirk Cousins in a winnable game as well. They only lost by 4 points. Threw 4 interceptions. 4 interceptions, no touchdowns. I mean, that is just embarrassing. That is a joke. You're killing your team, and you're pretty much the sole reason why you lose. If you score on even any of those drives, or even get 2 field goals out of 2 of those 4 drives where you threw a pick, you win the game. So it's just embarrassing that Kirk Cousins did that day, and that's really where I feel like the narrative started to shift. After the LA game, things were kind of the same. Struggled against Minnesota as well, threw 2 picks, no touchdowns, and then won a very disappointing game against the beat up, pretty much terrible Raiders, and threw only a touchdown and then another interception, but only threw for 112 yards in a game that shouldn't have been close against, again, a very bad Raiders team to keep their playoff hopes alive. And that's when Raheem Morris felt like he needed to make a change and decided to go bench Cousins. So Cousins was then benched, and now Penix will be starting. So that's what really inspired me to make a video anyways. I was like, okay, we're here. Penix is going to start. But there was another wrinkle to the story. That wrinkle is that the Falcons, December 21st, per Adam Schefter, the Falcons were expected to cut Kirk Cousins before his $10 million bonus due in March, the one I discussed earlier in the video. This is a key detail because it's just straight up saying that the divorce is over, but the divorce is going to happen. The marriage is over. According to Schefter, thus there is now a widespread expectation across the league that the Falcons will not be able to trade Cousins and will have to release him before March 17th when his $10 million roster bonus for the 2026 season comes due. There's no need for the Falcons to absorb any more costs for a quarterback whom they have paid $90 million for 14 games. Yeah, that's about all it really tells you. It's just a shame that it came to this situation. And yeah, it's just, I wonder how Kirk Cousins is feeling because what's the word? You think you're going to be running this team for the next couple of years, potentially trying to win a Super Bowl. And you find out by December that you're going to be getting cut in March. And what's even more shocking is that they are putting in Penix in week 16 of the NFL while they're trying to make a playoff push. That's just what's the most shocking part of this entire thing for me. And I have to put a ton of blame here on Atlanta. It's just continuing to be a disappointing organization. They continue to do this every year. They have really not been relevant since the Super Bowl. Yes, they've made the occasional playoff push or even been in the playoffs, but they have not been a threat since that Super Bowl year. And it's just been a lot of bad decisions, a lot of things that haven't gone their way. And it's just been tough. I feel for their fans, but I feel like this organization deserves this because they did this to themselves. And I just feel like, again, if they would have either committed to Cousins or they would have committed to Penix, this would have been a lot easier to stomach. But this, again, they decided to do both. So Penix will be making his debut today against the New York Giants. We will see how that goes. I am rooting for him, of course. I have no beef with Penix. But I really hope he does well because, again, this was a colossal failure for Kirk Cousins, for the Atlanta Falcons, and just the organization as a whole. You really got to be embarrassed if you're a fan of that team because, again, this was just such a joke, and I just can't believe it happened to them. Yeah, we'll see where Kirk Cousins goes in the future. I really have no idea what his market's going to look like in the spring. He's definitely going to have to go on a deal. That's probably a one-year deal and a lot less money. We'll have to see what happens, but barring that time, we'll have to see just because it's just going to be a hard sell on a guy that's that old, and of course is now starting to, at least this year, starting to show that he's declining in play. I mean, he's just not reading the field correctly, not making the right reads. So we will see how this goes in the next couple months. But yeah, that's all I got for today. Just wanted to recap this. I thought it was an interesting situation that has unfolded over the last couple weeks and the llast couple months in the NFL. So we'll have to keep it updated with how Penix does and see where, Cousins goes in spring, but it's definitely not going to be in Atlanta. So a short-lived time in Atlanta. Never fully felt right seeing him in a Falcons uniform, but, this stuff happens. So it's football. It is what it is. But yeah, that's all I got for the video today. If you liked the video, again, feel free to give it a like. Any comments, drop them down below. If you like my type of content, feel free to subscribe. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace, guys.